I have finished the third week of the Solo Artist curriculum. It was a good one. It's still figure drawing, but I have also started to incorporate some Drawbox to the training. Drawbox should start at Unit 2 or Week 5 of the program. But as both Broco and Maiko Hampton mentioned rotating boxes and cylinders as crucial to figure drawing, I decided to start doing some Drawbox together with figure drawing or Unit 1. So on day 1 of this week 3, I did some Drawbox warm-ups, and I also went back to Broco's mannequinization video. I had already done this drawing before in the end of week 2, and I started week 3 with it, and it was better last week. It happens. Then I watched Broco's videos on balance poses, and I thought of attempting drawing before watching his drawings, but he did not really draw the poses in this video. So I ended up with very few drawings and mostly notes. I also watched the video about proportions, but I didn't draw along with it. I felt I needed to work on my basics before I got there. So after watching quite a few videos, I just went ahead and practiced some timed gesture. I started with 1-minute drawings, did some more 1-minute drawings here, followed then by some 2-minute poses. I was reasonably happy with this session until I got to the bottom here. I tried this pose twice and I wasn't happy with the results. I got tired. I spent about 1.5 hours drawing and watching videos on day 1. Day 2, I went straight into 1-minute poses. I normally don't like my results when I don't do a warm-up before the sessions, and this is no different. But in this second page, I really like this 1-minute drawing. It's probably my favorite drawing from this practice. The others here were 2-minute poses. And later I did a 5-minute pose that I wasn't very happy with. It took me about half an hour to do this drawing, so it wasn't a big day of drawing for me. Day 3, I started with boxes. So I drew boxes and I checked their conversion. I also took notes saying that I should warm up my lines before drawing the boxes, otherwise the lines get sloppy and then the box don't really work. Oh, and glasses are also a must. It took me a long time to draw just a few boxes and I got rather frustrated, so I went back to figure drawing. I watched Broco's measuring video and decided to go back to the first lesson on gesture. I wanted to consolidate gesture before I started getting worried about proportions and measuring things and really understand where I had gotten so far, especially given that this first unit of figure drawing is mostly concerned about gesture. So I rewatched the first video on gesture and started working the same way I had done on week 2. I would stop the video and time myself as I worked on drawings. And then only after having my version down, I would watch Broco and copy his drawings to use them as corrections. I think I still have a lot to work on, but if I compare this with my first week drawings, there's an enormous amount of improvement. There's a better understanding of what to do. I still don't do justice to Broco's drawings when I copy him, but I still have an idea of what his line of drawing was supposed to do. Day 4, I watched Broco's step-by-step videos on gesture, and I drew before him. The first ones were 30-second poses, and in this first one, I got the hip wrong, but the others were fine. I like this 30-second one. Here on the 2-minute poses, I think mine are definitely in the right direction. Again, not as nice as Broco's, but totally expected. I went on to try a gesture session and did lots of 1-minute poses. Then I watched something on exaggerating poses on Broco and did some more drawings in which I could compare my attempts versus Broco's drawings. I feel the improvement compared to week 1 is considerable. I went on to finish the day with some boxes, and I skipped day 5. I closed the car door on my finger and I had a bad day. So basics, I try to get back on track, and I first started with Proko's videos again. I quite like this 2-minute pose. I also like this one. It's clear to see how I still have a long way to go when I compare my drawings to Proko's, but I am happy with the progress. I also tried something different with the gesture sessions. I decided to work the 1-minute poses in 30 seconds. With Masters Academy, they often have 2 photos and a 1-minute timer, and I would normally choose one pose or do one after the other and use the entire minute for that. But in this case, I used only 1 minute for the 2 poses. I like the first ones in the bottom left. The top right ones I did not like at all, but again, it was interesting to try to reduce the time. Then I did 1-minute pose, followed by 2 poses in 1 minute again. I feel that having 2 poses and 1 timer is not entirely fair because one pose tends to get more time than the other. So the first one is nice for a 30-second drawing, but the second was probably more rushed. I moved then to 1 pose at a time. The bottom left was 1 minute and the others were 2 minutes. I like the bottom one here. This next page has some more 2-minute poses and then 2 poses in 5 minutes. So 2.5 minutes for each if they were divided equally, which they probably weren't. This session had a mix of good and bad results, but I was mostly happy with it. On the last day, I started early, 5:30 a.m., as I tried to work hard to catch up with having missed 1 day of practice. I started with Michael Hampton's figure drawing book. I read and copied some of his drawings and some of the suggested exercises, drawing and connecting ellipses, playing with rotating boxes, all again sending me to draw a box. By the beginning of the week, I really was convincing myself draw a box is the way and I should start and work through it and follow all the submission guidelines so I get proper feedback and I can do it and not rushing it from lessons 0 to 3 in 4 weeks as suggested in the curriculum. I thought I could do it properly at the advised speed and I would just do it in parallel with the curriculum. However, just drawing a few boxes this week made me think I probably won't do it. It really seems like an excellent program, but it's not what I want to do right now, and forcing myself to take this might make me stop rather than have me continue at the appropriate pace. So I went back to figure drawing and I continued with a gesture session from New Masters Academy. I did quite a few 1-minute poses. I quite like how they turned out. They're simple, but I get them. I feel like going back to the beginning of gesture was very beneficial. I also like those other 1-minute ones. I also like this 2-minute pose. I worked for about 1 hour and a quarter in the morning. Then I had to carry on with my day, and later on, I decided to read Figure Drawing for All It's Worth by Loomis. I took some notes and decided to tackle the flat diagram. This also had intimidated me before. I wasn't sure how to best use this book, but then I tried to bring it to the page just to see if I could understand what was being said there. It was okay, but I wasn't very happy with it. So I looked up Loomis on YouTube and I found a companion to Loomis series in which one artist follows Loomis figure drawing book and draws elements from it. I did not follow his series, but I will link it here. I think it might be a useful resource to draw along with. I also found another video in which another artist that I will also link here was drawing with the Loomis method. I drew along with him and I enjoyed the practice. It was good to balance the gestures, the quick drawings with something a little bit more structured. I later went back to the New Masters Academy session that I had started earlier. And I did this 5-minute pose, which I really liked, and my first 10-minute pose, which I also was rather happy with. I'm sure I could have done more in 10 minutes if I had known more. I didn't use the entire 10 minutes to do it, but I used the knowledge I have now, and it was a nice practice for me. I like how at the end of this week there's some nice movement and simple lines happening. I am quite happy with the improvement. So this is it. Next week, it's final week of Figure Drawing 1, and I hope to see you then. Bye.